Good evening, boys and girls. Welcome back to War and Peace 2, Soviets versus German AI. This is the end of turn 21, quite an eventful and challenging turn, 9th of November 1941. And overall, the Soviet Red Army is in good shape because it has reached almost 4.7 million men, 61,000 artillery, and over 10,000 tanks, 1,500 planes. This is on the map in forts. This is on the map. Right. So Leningrad had two huge battles, as you saw in the German attack video recently. At least I inflicted some substantial losses on the German attacker, but the fact is that I am not strong enough to advance and reclaim the battleground, and I'm not very happy. I'm very unhappy about losing this central location here, because now it opens up for an attack across the river inside Leningrad itself, and I have zero backup troops inside Leningrad pocket. I have 3 divisions in Oranienbaum. I have 3 divisions inside Leningrad. I don't dare to pick one out of either of those forts. The Green Reserve Army here has 6 divisions, but they're all severely damaged and refitting from this week's battles, so their brigade size 5,000-6,000, high fatigue and refitting. So I can't really do it. I already used what I had to move up to reoccupy the front line. I lost this position here because the division there was sitting without me noticing for many weeks and kind of attritioning away, and at the end it was so high fatigue, so low strength that the Germans just walked across. I lost the fort. Fortunately, I had one division that arrived here from... It was going to take up the position, so I already had reinforcements on the way. I now have a single brigade, infantry brigade, arriving here that I can walk up here and take the position. So Leningrad, it is holding, but honestly, I feel the pressure here during the winter offensive. We have 2 or even 3 more turns of snow. It is getting more and more snow every week, so the weather is heading our direction. We are getting stronger. The Germans are getting weaker overall, and I want to say it was the largest attack of the war this turn. I forgot to say it at the beginning, and the largest Soviet attack was performed, a huge assault in a very key location. So we'll save that to the end, just so you know. Right, so that's Leningrad, doing okay. I have 3 naval brigades reinforcing this week, so at least I have something coming in, but that's like 15,000 men. It's not a huge addition. Hopefully the backline divisions can reinforce rather speedily, and we regain force faster than the Germans. I was thinking about placing forts inside Leningrad to dig in, prepare the positions, but turned out I didn't have the admin points to do that this turn. Northwestern Front is in better shape than in a long time. Actually fielding 328,000, which is fairly good, and I feel the front has stabilized. But we are fighting on a very long front here. This is Northwestern Front. So there are some gaps, as you know, but this part of the front is rather strong, the central front here. Also the northern front is rather fine, and then it's a bit shaky here, and definitely the Rezev city. This is a newly arrived 5 reserve divisions deployed around Kalinin and then moved up and took position in this sector here. Because without it, I would have had nothing in this Rajev sector, or almost nothing. And I can understand that when you read the German reports from World War II, how the Soviets seem to stomp out of the ground new armies from nowhere. This is kind of what happened. But what you see here, they are sitting behind a river, but it's light forest, they're not dug in, and they have high fatigue from running all the way from Kalinin down here. So these are not very well prepared defenses. Although in Rajev itself, I managed to get 2 divisions, and one of them got an airborne brigade on it. And I have been building a fort here for a very long time. It is fortress zone number 11, so it was the 11th fort I built. Yeah, probably so. And I thought to myself a couple of weeks ago, oh, what a waste. I shouldn't have built that fort. And I'm never going to get any use of it. So it's like 3.5 level fortress here in the city. At least that's nice. That's northwestern front. Very few battles in this sector, except in front, as you can see here. Well, they crushed me here, but this is the reason. We have Operation Typhoon is smashing into the Soviet lines here from. Very difficult to manage this attack. What I did was no counterattacks. I didn't feel strong enough, but I pulled out from my double line at Vyazma. I pulled out and re-established a line here. And I have one strong stack here that fell back. It was sitting here. I had to fall back. And then we have something on the line here up to Rajev. I railed in 3 new fresh divisions from railroad reinforcement from Far East. That pops up in Ryazan. So this is the second turn they're arriving. And what I plan to do with these nice Far Eastern division is replace them in the Vyazma line. These 3 divisions here are absolute top-notch elite divisions, and they'll be sitting here for months just guarding these forts. And now I want to replace them and use these elite divisions. They have high combat preparation already, and use them to establish a counter-attack force, because I really need to stop this German attack here. The line held here. But we have divisions that are 8,000 strong with very high fatigue in the line. So, you know, how long is this river line gonna hold? I guess once we, you know, I could probably fight the fighting withdrawal like this. So I could give up ground if I get pushed back. It is this rail line here that I want to defend. So we do, it's not the end of the world if the Germans push us away from here. But of course we're sitting in a very nice river line in high level fort, so I don't want to lose a hex. Western Front is doing, it is under pressure. You can see it's kind of in a cauldron. I don't want to get stuck, hemmed in like this, and kind of overwhelmed by German forces coming here. And if the German panzers decide to go this direction, yeah, a human player would be a threat. But I don't think the AI is going to be able to do that. And as you can see here, we have very strong tank forces in the way for that maneuver. But anyways, there is a threat of the entire Western Front being enveloped. I have to think about that, maybe fall back. I don't want to give up Vyazma. Western Front is a strong 265,000. So it's not and most of the troops are in good shape, except here in the 14th Army, which has been in heavy fighting in this sector here during the last couple of weeks. It was responsible for the river defense, and now they have had to retreat mostly, and most of them are refitting in the 14th Army. Hasn't really been performing extremely well, to be honest. Kind of had fairly bad combat results. And I did run a second trial combat phase of the encirclement that I did on the northern side of Oka River, and I managed to hold the defenses, and the situation looked entirely differently, very advantageous to the Soviets. So of course I went with the real save. It was just I want to learn the combat system, so I just made an experiment. This is the real save that we're playing, not that one, but that turned out quite a lot better, and the Moscow would have been safe. There's no way he'd ever, because without this bulge, imagine if all these troops were sitting along this river in these 4 hexes here. That would be a very different situation. So the German army rather, they performed a linking up operation here and made some heavy attacks and reached the encircled 2 divisions sitting up here in regimental split up form. So the bulge is still there this turn, of course, but as you can see, we actually performed quite a lot of successful counterattacks from the west and one from the east. So we kind of squeezing the bridgehead at Oka, at Moscow, and it's giving us a little bit of respite. We have 2 tank armies in this sector. The elite 29th Army under Tulbukin, which can command infantry as well as he commands mechanized forces, of course. So 29th is a proper elite army. It is under Bryansk front, which is an assault headquarters. So his divisions regains the double combat preparation. So it's very nice to quickly bring up tank formations to attack readiness. But the other tank army that newly deployed in Moscow isn't quite in the same shape and not quite the same leadership under Moskalenko, the Neva OPGR army. But obviously he's a good mech commander, so I use him to defend, and I try to transfer tank divisions that already have high combat preparation that's been prepared by the 29th over to him, so that I get maximum benefit out of the assault headquarter capabilities of the other army headquarter. So brown is old school high defense, and gray are elite, quickly redeploying, recharging, re-establishing themselves. But I don't want to fight with tank formations in the front line. But there, I don't have a choice, because right now I am entirely out of in-shape infantry. All these troops are low strength and refitting, unready. So therefore I stack them up as best as I can, and I railed in a single infantry division into the supply depot at Podolsk. Podolsk. The 374th. So at least I have a nice fort and a nice infantry division defending in the center of the line here with a 42 defense value. But to the south and to the north here we have tanks and mechanized, and they're not really. I abandoned this hex here. I'm afraid of the German panzers, so I shortened the line. So we have a nice 3 hexes gap. That reminds me, I might actually consider pulling back even further. Wait, sorry. Maybe this stack here with a 14 defense, maybe I should pull them back another hex. I don't really care if the gap gets wider. I care more about conserving my troops. I'll try to remember to look into that. I'd rather have this corner position take the brunt of the German attacks than my troops there. Then I managed to get 3 rifle brigades running into line here. So they are in bad shape. The security division and security brigade inside Moscow got unfrozen, so I now can refit them and use them, and they're very high quality. But I guess I'm keeping them inside Moscow because I have nothing else there. I show you the quality of my Soviet forces garrison inside Moscow. It is the brave 339th Rifle Division with 3,700. It has a shocking, whooping TOE of 6 and a 43 national morale. Hooray! Worst division in 4 losses. Yeah, I'm glad not my entire Red Army looks like this. There are exceptions, however. Off you go next turn to the Far East or somewhere where you can sit and garrison for the rest of the war, you stupid, worthless division. Anyways, I'm railing in another fresh Far East division, 11k strong here. Couldn't unload it this turn, so at least we have one good infantry division to defend Moscow. Then I'm very sad to see my NKVD division got severely beat up in a... I don't know what happened. It was sitting in a strong defensive position, but it got just absolutely trashed from a reasonably sized attack. So very bad shape, and I just... I don't want to... I want to keep it in line. I need to pull it out. But where is that one division to put into position here? Yeah, you know what? Maybe I... Let's see here. These are very small divisions here, but... I'm thinking of moving all these 3 divisions one step to the left, and but thereby protecting the motorized division. It's just a fact. I am lacking one division, one unit in this position here. And I have a bit of a killer stack here with the 66th and 65th Rifle Division. Sure, their morale isn't that impressive, but they do have motorcycle regiments attached to them. And with that, they're over 15,000, almost 16,000 strong. And they performed one counterattack here and pushed something back. So I'm starting to grind them up. And that's an excellent position. That means I will not, with this strong shoulder here, I will not give up these forts. They are level 3. Unfortunately, they contain troops that shouldn't be here. A motorized and a mechanized. I don't want to use them where they are, but I'm not going to get them out right now. However, I will leave it to the Germans to clean out this sector. It is the Battle for Moscow 1941. I can't just run away like a chicken here. I want to stand my ground. They will have to fight for every square feet of the bulge of Moscow here. I took a position with a new low skill leadership army here. Last turn it was just some very low strength divisions. Now they have some cavalry and infantry brigades that came running as reinforcements from different directions. It's more of an infantry screen. It's not really there to fight or stop, more delay. Because, okay, and we have a little bit better quality behind the river here, orange leadership. So northeast of Moscow, I guess our defenses are enough, because here is not where the Germans are focusing their attacks. No attacks in this sector at all. However, the Soviets performed a rather nifty counterattack in this sector here, where we attacked south from Ryazan and took our killer stack here of infantry divisions, moved up, struck, and replaced a regiment. And thereby we now have cut off, well, we've cut them off for this turn. You can see here that we control these 2 hexes. So there will be no supply for this division and a half sitting in the furthest east position of the Wehrmacht's advance on the eastern front. But this is only to slow them down. I don't have the forces to cut them off and hold the line. Not really. I'm just, as you can see here, we have at least one strong German infantry division in the vicinity, and I suspect we have more forces here. So it would just be a waste of combat power to even try to hold that terrain. It's not my goal. So I'm just looking for them to kind of bleed out with attrition and low supplies even further there. But I'm quite happy with that little needle sharp attack on the Wehrmacht in the Ryazan sector. And then we come to the operation that I call different planetary bodies like Venus or Saturnus, or I don't know. It is the Soviet proper winter offensive, and it looks like this. So even though we had some German counterattacks, first off, so I remember to tell you, there were some air bombardment in the gap inside the Moscow pocket, and also I focused on these two German panzer divisions sitting here and attacked them quite heavily. And I think we had, let me see here, is that we were, okay, I think, no, we had one held, no, did we? Yeah, I think every single attack here was a success, and the same at Moscow. No, even if there were reserve activations, which there were in some instances, if I remember right, I attacked strongly enough to defeat 2 defending regiments because we didn't have entire divisions joining. So that's a great success. So that means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 successful attacks in this sector. And I repaired all the way up to the supply depot. I noticed that I got some supply inside the depot, so I suppose that's trucks and maybe even mule carts, horse-drawn transport, delivering freight or supply into a depot. But next turn, this rail depot should operate at full capacity. I have even some surplus on the 2 depots operating in this sector. And what about the 4th newly built one here? It didn't get anything on it, right? Yeah, I got 64 freight. All right, it will probably be better next turn. So this is basically only me pushing German regiments to the side, and it's unfortunate they got such substantial reinforcement. We can see full-size divisions in many. They're not very strong, except this sucker here is strong. And then you have these 2 panzer divisions that I bombed. So a breakthrough is probably out of the question. Well, definitely this week. But long term, if I strike his vulnerable, weaker position, the regiments, and push them back, and even, you see, I have quite a few routed German units this turn. I hope to weaken him in the long run in a couple of weeks' time. And the first turn in December, the Germans going to have their first winter effects, and they're going to be substantially weakened. So if I keep them occupied this way for a couple of more weeks, 3 more weeks, I could really have the Germans on the ropes. And what I have not completed yet, I still have, I think, around 9 or so very high quality, well rested mechanized divisions in this sector. Tanks are mostly spent and used for attacks and have retreated, but my mech forces are, as you can see here, they have high combat preparation, very high fuel, supplies and ammunition, and they're all at 100 combat preparation. So they're very strong, but what am I going to do with them? Yeah, I haven't decided yet. One idea I have for my 9 mech divisions is to just put them here in the very front to protect the supply depot in this location here, and just keep the railroad open and have them in the front and have them ready for the next turn. I could move up and strike at 1 regiment here and encircle. I think I encircled this regiment the last week as well, and then place them around there and encircle 1 regiment. That's another idea. Or I don't know. I haven't decided what to do with them yet. Let me know in the comments if you had 9 mech divisions. Would you kind of throw them in here in what appears to start to become something? Oh, you know what? Maybe I want to send them up here and push back these routed units. Don't they suffer further losses if you reroute an already routed unit? But I really don't want to squeeze them in zone of control between two. Then I first would want to push back one of these regiments and open up a gap. And since they're focused down here in the south, it's a bit of winter terrain that I would have traverse before I am at the actual front. So decisions. I really don't know what to do. And I also have a bit of an infantry army building up here. Don't know what to do with them. If I'm gonna just keep them as a very strong shoulder of the southern shoulder of my offense here, or if I'm gonna move them up and start preparing and attacking this river line here. I'm very ambivalent about the situation here. But anyways, the entire Voronezh sector is quiet. I guess I'm not attacking even this weak regiment here. 0-8 defense. I guess my divisions are weak as well. You can see they have 5, 6, 7,000 men. So if I attack, yeah, they don't have good combat preparation. Yeah, so I guess I selected to just sit here and dig in this week. I did repair a couple of railroad hexes here, so maybe we will see supplies stream into Voronezh, because we do have but yellow means in German zonal control, right? But I still sometimes see depots receive a lot of supplies with in zonal control. Maybe you can't just route railroad traffic in zonal control. I don't quite understand yet how it works. I mean, I really should at this stage. But anyways, we repaired the railroad here, and also up here to the north we repaired the railroad into Vitebsk. Super interesting. Then in the, let's call it the Kharkov sector, we have a few counterattacks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But I'm pretty sure one had somewhere we had a is it this hex here? No. Well, somewhere we had some reserve activations here, but I guess I didn't have to attack twice. Maybe I defeat. Oh, here it is. Here it is. We have a entire Italian division, the Celera division, saves the day by reserve activating and saving the 2nd Regiment of the 267 Infantry Division, and allowing them to defeat my 2 mechanized division that were attacking here. So that's unfortunate. Only 28 tanks, and even Celera has a bit of tank forces. So that was under General Messe here. So that was a nice little role-playing heroic Italian counter attack that threw back my 2 fairly strong mechanized divisions in this sector here. But other than that, I attack with overwhelming force, single regiments that have not had the time to dig in properly, and I just push them back. I do not follow up. And I have made kind of a risky move here, moving 2 stacks across the river, because that keeps them away from this railroad line. But of course it means I'm laughably weak in other sectors here. But it gives me an opportunity to gain some combat experience with local superiority. We'll see how fun it will be when the Germans arrive here with strong reinforcements. But for now, this has been working out for me in this sector. I am still too weak for my liking along the river. I managed to get 1 infantry division up here, but otherwise it's just cavalry. And then I retreated with a tank unit. I do have 3 infantry brigades, half divisions, that are going to come and sit here in the line next turn. And also a tank division that's going to reinforce the 51st Army. Because I do have enough supplies in my 2 depots here. I guess I pulled out enough forces that, and I'm not moving a lot by rail, so I'm fine supply-wise. It could be an idea to pull back and shorten. I could really shorten the front line. But I guess I'm gonna let the Germans do that, because I like the forts I am currently occupying. So I'm gonna let the Germans attack me here. Then we come down to the Stalino sector. And we have the heroic, elite, almost, if not by definition, at least in functionality, shock army of 4th Shock Army under the command of Vatutin. And led by the 2 brave Guard divisions, we perform a very strong attack on a single regiment with a 20-1 result here. But we suffered 3-1 losses. Well, he had a fort, level 1 fort. I think we maybe overstacked this a bit, and that's why we suffer such heavy losses. And it's pretty substantial tank support with 266 tanks, even though we don't have any mechanized divisions. It's just support units. So impressive attack. At least no reserve activation and a fail. I haven't checked myself. This is a little bit of statistics porn here, if you're into that kind of thing. If you look at the 4th Army, you can see that their morale selection starts from 71 and goes, it has a very nice morale selection here, and I'm sure we're gonna have more Guard units eventually in this army here. And I did give them some extra goodies, a Guards Light Rocket Regiment, the first to appear on the map, and I also gave them these high power artillery battalions. They don't have the siege mortars, but he's got more artillery. I want to say that about artillery. When we started the winter offensive after the mud, almost every army had 4 in-shape artillery support units. Now I struggle to maintain that. I have so many chewed up and damaged, sent back into the reserve pool or to Stavka to refit, that I'm down to 2, and sometimes I have to empty out, and I struggle to keep 3-4 in my frontline armies. So even though I have a lot of artillery, a lot of the units have a lot of combat attrition currently. Alright, enough about the 4th Army and its glorious experience gain grind around this sector. Don't know what... Borovaya? Slaviansk? Around the Slaviansk sector. I beat saying this word here. Alright. And now what we all have been waiting for, the major assault, the largest attack during the entire war by the 6th Army. And I spent probably a quarter of an hour or 20 minutes just finding out what will be the best and strongest and most suitable highest combat preparation heavy howitzer regiments. And I even allotted 2 of the 280mm heavy siege mortars, the high power units. They got a double allotment of mortars, 2 battalions, and we managed to scrounge together a very nice large attack force, and we were gonna liberate the city of Gorlovka here that fell 2 weeks ago, because the Axis decided in their infinite wisdom to place a single Hungarian border guard brigade inside the city itself. And I did have a full elite mountain corps of 3 divisions ready to move up and occupy the Hex. They were not participating in the battle, so everything was planned meticulously, and I wanted the attack to be so heavy that even with the reserve activation I wouldn't fail it, and it would have made the front line look something like this. It would have been excellent. But what happened? Oh no! The Viking SS motorized division reserve activates into the Hex. And for the first time in the war, we have 2 units reserve activating, another regiment. And obviously, of course, the 20,000 defenders with their level 1 fort defeats our 79,000 attackers and over 1,000 artillery pieces. We suffer 1,500 attack losses, and to the Germans only 220. So Rokossovsky, I am glad if you are not up against the wall next week being shot by Stalin for being a traitor. This is a horrible setback for the Stalino sector of the front. Oh, it was very painful. It was very painful to see this happen. I think maybe if only if that little regiment hadn't, I might have defeated the Viking SS. But you know, the Germans, their strategy pulled off. They placed a reserve division strong in the center, and even though I made a lot of airstrikes beforehand in this sector here, as you can see, it didn't help. I didn't bomb the Viking SS because he's got a lot of anti-air, so I avoided bombing him. So that was painful. And now I'm gonna tell you what I spent my admin points with. I spent them on improving the long-range air command to a the only level 7 commander of the entire Soviet Air Force. Let me see if I can find where is here's the long-range air command headquarters. His name is Golovanov, and he's the only air skill 7 leader. And next week I'm gonna put a lot of air under him. So that's that, and that was 10 admin points. And then I was planning on putting the rest into forts into Leningrad, but then I realized that my units in Stalino itself, they were so weak that I really had no choice to use the remaining 10 admin points and place 3 divisions inside here. Why do they have 0-0? Well, now we have a combat value of 457 because we have a 4th division outside as well. They're not very strong, but 4 divisions is better than 2 or 3 if I were to delete the fort zone. I'm keeping the only 13 construction value fort here because what fort level do we have? It's 2. It's 2.3. So I really hope we didn't waste the fortress city. But I'm hoping we will hold the Hex now. And at least we have a strong infantry line running in front of where we failed the attack here. The northern sector is looking stronger now. As you can see, we rushed in a newly arrived guard division, and you might wonder, why are you so aggressive with the guard unit when the other guard unit you deployed ended up in Voroshilovgrad? Well, that is because this guy has more than 55 morale, so I want to use it sparingly. But I figured this guy here, the 4th Guards Rifle Division, it only has 55 morale, so that if he can't lose his guard status ever, so if he gets attacked very heavily and trashed and his morale is lowered, I can always withdraw him, send him back to the reserve pool, rest and refit him, and get him back up to 55 morale. So I can kind of waste, I mean, hopefully he wins his battles, but if he suffers losses, it really doesn't matter long term. He's gonna be strong again in the future sometime. So that was my, and I needed the bodies in the front line, because imagine scrounging together an 80,000 man attack and at the same time defending in the winter plains of Russia against this strong German force here. It's not easy to micromanage and handle the situation here. But the entrance, you know, I'm not happy with having this open highway into the back lines of Russia, of Stalino. 2 mountain divisions hold the key bottleneck of the supply route into Stalino itself. Do you think I'm happy with this situation? Of course I'm not. It's horrible. It would have been a different thing if the attack succeeded. So, pretty scary, and I don't think I am receiving any new reinforcements here. I just have to rest and refit and repair whatever I got. I do have a lot of troops here, although the supply is okay in this sector. I managed to get a new cavalry division inside the Mariupol fortress, and it's only 54 combat value, even though we have a mech, a cavalry, and 2 infantry inside it. So not as strong as I would like it to be, and I'm kind of weakening my fortress line here by pulling out forces and putting into Mariupol, and I see a German panzer unit here. So after dominating the Mariupol sector for many weeks, punishing his individual regiments there, I am not attacking this turn. I am defending, I'm preparing, and I do have an infantry division. Why? I guess I want to ship and unload in the same turn. So I'm not gonna ship him. I could, but I would have to leave him on ships in Mariupol, and I don't want to do that. So I guess I'm waiting to ship him the next turn. And another cavalry division comes from Baku and arrives in this port here. So we're continuously streaming naval-wise forces into Mariupol. I was planning on kind of having some sort of winter offensive here, but it seems the Germans don't like that idea, so that's not gonna happen. I think we'll take the chance here and smash this Romanian infantry regiment. I've forgotten about that. If there is a reserve activation, so be it. The odds are, as you can see, 28-2, so quite favorable to us. And we rout him. Oh my god, that is the most successful. Oops, sorry. Almost 4,000 losses. All right, good job. And after this battle, I should probably check out the fatigue of these units here. And this one here looks a little bit tired. So I'm going to replace him with maybe this division here. Yeah, 0 fatigue. So we'll take this tired division here and pull it back. Pull it back and have it rest and refit. And then instead Oh, okay, we can send in this. This division is a little bit stronger. We're gonna. Right. This one already have 2 wins and 51 morale, and it's a bit stronger, 11,000. So I suppose I want to grind this division. So I'm gonna put that there. This one over here. Okay. Sorry. It's a bit. I suppose it's a bit riskier to do the same at Genichek port. I found a nice little detail talking about forts. If you deselect everything, there is a little checkbox down here that is called in fort 18. So I have 18. These are all my city fortress units. I know I have 151,000 troops sitting in my different. It doesn't say which city fort it is, unfortunately, but I kind of know the name of the army by heart, which is garrisoning each city fort. So I never kind of paid attention to this checkbox and this category of troops. Maybe because I haven't used city fortresses as much as I have this turn. I built quite a few of them, to be honest, more than I usually do. But I do believe I've discovered maybe something here that Mariupol built over 3.1, which is the maximum unless you have a fortress zone. This one is built up to 3.12, and it has a fortress, a city fortress. Is it only the units outside the city fort that can build up the fort level? Why did it not increase more this week? Is it because I built it last week and only built this week, and this is the end of the week and it takes me so long time to stream? Yeah, maybe so. We'll see next week. Keep an eye on Mariupol if it has increased from 3.12 further up. Also building up, super uninteresting, but I am building up Kerch and Feodosia ports on the Kerch Peninsula just in case it breaks through the entrance here. And so I want to pop out fortress zones here. I keep building 3 mortar battalions each week because that allows me to keep around 300 mortars in reserve. Seems I build up to 400 and I build down to 300 again each week. So that makes sense. And I built 102 ski battalions this week. How many? It doesn't say how much manpower each contains. But a battalion, isn't that like 1,000? Maybe 800? So that will be interesting to see how much out of my manpower pool. But my manpower pool went down from, let's say, 210 to 170,000. So I lost 40,000, but I still have enough to build up 102 ski battalions. But other than that, I don't really build any support units with my admin points. I guess I feel exchanging leaders and building fortresses is more valuable to me overall. So I have to say, in certain things are working well, but there is a certain amount of pressure. I suppose I'm nervous about the Regev sector. I am, for real. And I feel rather strong around Moscow. Not super nervous, but this is a strong attack force, and I don't know what he'll do. Feel somewhat less optimistic about the winter offensive here, but we'll see what my mechs can do. Yeah, it will be interesting to see what the Germans can think of during their turn. And I will finish my mech divisions at the winter offensive location, and then I'll record German attacks after this. If you made it to the end, thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments your thoughts about the war so far, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.